attempt the lapel microphone. Can you guys hear okay? All right, everybody good? Hi, so I am Dustin Snavely. I work with a company called GPRS, live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I cover national sales for GPRS and our sitemap sales team, which is it's a infrastructure digital platform, GIS platform that focuses on subsurface and above ground infrastructure. So I want to start before jumping in, kind of give you a background of who I am. And this next slide usually has one of two reactions to it. Either a few giggles or you're a monster of a human being. So we'll see how this group is going to go. But I am a proud father of 3 kids, but I rank my children. This isn't your typical kid slide that you see. Every week we have, kind of like college football, a weekly ranking system, see where they're at. So as you see here, Mac, my 16-year-old, he is currently in 3rd. Give you the pros, he just finished up successful basketball season, made the varsity team, was a big goal of his as a sophomore, doing great in school, just switched schools from one that cost money to one that doesn't, so that was a big plus for him on the ranking system. The con is he just got his license, and I just learned how much it costs to insure a 16-year-old driver, as well as I just learned why my hair will be gone in a year, as I spend most of my time looking at the Life 360 app and watching him go down the street and try to figure out if he's not gotten in an accident. So that's coming in 3rd place. Coming in 2nd is Teddy, hilarious giant 9-year-old, makes everyone laugh. He's doing well in school, great kid. I cannot break the habit. He loves soccer, so that's why he gets knocked out of the top ranking there. And then finally, Ben's about to turn 14 tomorrow. That helps his ranking. Birthday weeks usually pops them up a little bit. Has a passion for stand-up comedy, which is great. He's the one kid I can watch Netflix with and really enjoy what we're watching. He's made a big leap in school this year. The con is he's starting that pre-teenage mood swings and all of that, so I could see him falling down the chain pretty quickly. I give you all that. In essence, though, these 3, my wife, my family, is why I do what I do. And there was a big change about 3 years in my life, 3 or 4 years ago in my life, where I worked for a building materials manufacturer, loved what I did. I was focused on building teams, focused on growing their business, and became part of the safety committee. And what I saw with incidents, there's a few incidents that we had, you don't just see the person, you don't just see the dollar amount, but you see when you have an injury, you see the family behind it, you see who they are, what it actually means when that happened. It really changed my perspective completely, and that's when the opportunity to come to GPRS, who is all safety focused, it changed my life and changed kind of what my passion, what my North Star is. So give you a quick background on me. Why is someone from GPRS talking to you about what we're talking about today? The reason is for the last 20 plus years, GPRS has spent their business on facility campuses, on projects, and we've understood 3 major gaps that are an epidemic to the industry. The information that we have is inaccurate. The information that we gain is hard to store, and the information that we have and have stored is hard to share. And that lack of information flow and inaccurate information out there has created damages, created situations, and created problems across the board. So that's why I'm here to talk to you today. Do have to give you the disclaimer slide. Again, I work for GPRS. We make a GIS platform that has some of the things we're talking about today. So keep that in mind. But what we're talking about, and when we talk about this, it's not just us. Obviously, there's a lot of options out there. So disclaimers out there. But before we get into that, let's go with, sorry, I have the wrong button. I want to cover what the agenda will look like. Current issues caused by the information gaps on job sites and facilities. Is there a problem? What are the problems when that happens? best practices in collecting that missing information, what to look for in a digital platform to store your subsurface and above ground information, and demonstrate the benefits. When you do that correctly, when you do that well, and that all comes together, what does that look like and what are the benefits there? So want to just start with current state, and before we go to the current state of the industry, want to talk to the room here, open it up. Who here operates in a facility? Almost everybody here. Who here likes their information that they have? They feel like they have a complete picture of their subsurface and above ground infrastructure. Good data? All right. What the data that you have, digital, paper, how are you guys storing that? Paper? Any digital? No? Anyone using a GIS platform? So that takes my next question away. No? Okay. So, what about your as-builts? Who here trusts their as-builts? Not a lot of hands. By not a lot, I mean none. We get that a lot. And this is not a common, or not an uncommon response to these questions. And what we're seeing here is the lack of data, the lack of good quality information. It's affecting our industry. It's costing us time, it's costing us money, it's putting our reputations on the line, and at the end of the day, the biggest thing is it's affecting the safety of folks on our campuses or at our sites. And I always stop here because one lesson I had early in my career, I was on a site and a general contractor, the owner of a general contractor company, he and I were talking and the bunch of stuff all around, Bobcat over here, scissor lift over here, all the nail guns and saws that you would ever want. And he goes, what do you think is the most expensive thing on this job site? I had my guess of the scissor lift. A couple guys that were with me had a few other guests on there. He laughed and he pulled out that red marker right there. He said, this is always the most expensive thing. So when we talk about this information gap, we usually talk about when we hit something. We usually talk about when construction site is stopped or a job site or a project on a facility is stopped because of that. But it's just as expensive when it's stopped before that happens because we didn't know something was there and we had to go and redraw and stop the project. So that's the overall piece. Let me just give you some data to back it up. Some industry insights. 2/3 from the Finch report in 2021, 2/3 of facility managers reported a utility strike on a project that they had in the last 5 years. So let me restate that. Of the facility managers that they asked that had a project in the last 5 years, 67% of them said they had a strike when that occurred. That number is baffling to me. The average cost of a utility strike, $56,000. And this is the piece that is so profound to me when these same facility managers were asked what's the biggest cause, they didn't know where the information was. It wasn't necessary, and it came out in different questions that the information wasn't correct. There were a bunch of different things like that, but they didn't know where it was the number one. 62% said they have so many places to look for the data. They didn't have a central truth for their organization. So we talked about this earlier. None of you raised your hands for you trusted your as-builts. It's not a negative against as-builts, but in a lot of ways they should be called as intended. They're not redrawn or gone against the drawings for any bad reason, but things happen as we're laying utilities out there, and that straight line goes off a little bit, and the drawing is inaccurate, and then it's never recaptured. The other thing that we're finding a ton of is in these older institutions and older facilities, historic drawings go missing or they have gaps. And that gaps, I was on a Salvation Army campsite for work, not camping, but we were on a Salvation Army campground a few years back, and we were looking at doing a complete as-built for redoing their as-built for them. And we were walking down this road, and we looked to our right, and coming out of the ground was a sewer head on the hillside. And the facility manager said, "That's why you're here." And we said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "My drawings don't have any water over there, any sewer or water over there. And there's a giant sewer looking at us. And there's a whole map there that they did not have on their historic as-builts." So these are the things that are causing it. Inaccuracies in the data that we have, and then how it's collected is another piece. So you have these inaccuracies and you go out and you call people to collect them, and the three biggest problems we see is we do public locates only, so we're only calling 811, and 811 is doing what they're supposed to, they're locating the public utilities. Inaccuracies in when private utility locating companies come out there, how they're locating it or where they're locating or what they're locating off of, and you're getting inaccurate information out there. You're getting what you think is factual and it is not. And the last thing is facilities themselves using drawings to do the locations of their private utilities. So that's how we're collecting the data. And then the last piece is how the data is being stored. So almost everybody here said they have paper storage. I hope it's not like the one in the left there. You saw that picture earlier in the slide deck. This is from an actual event. And we were with a company 6 months ago up in Pittsburgh, and when we were in there, we're in this nice conference room, got a lovely coffee. I had a latte, having a great meeting, and then we need to get to the drawings piece of it, and we need to go over some plans, and we go down a floor, and we go into another level, and it's a back closet, and it looks something like this. The other piece is where we do have data, and the folks that need access to it, it might be too technical data or in a format that they don't understand or can't read, and it's the only version we have of that data when it's digitized. And then the last part there is that bottom piece is my personal desktop. Even if you do have it digitized, if you're not organized, it's not going to matter. It's going to be the same as that closet up there, just in a digital form where you can't get to what you need when you need it. I'm about to switch into the solution piece of this. We've established the problem why. Before I get there, anything said here that resonates or does not resonate or disagree with? Getting some nods. So what do we do? This is a real problem. It affects money. It affects safety. It affects all our reputation. It starts with putting ourselves in control of our data. So the name of this presentation is Control Your Data, Control Damages. We've got to put ourselves in control of our data. The first thing we have to do is fill the gap. We've got to understand what information we have, what information we don't have, and how do we fill that gap where we're missing information. And then the second thing is, when we collect it, when we store this information, how do we store it in a way that everyone who needs access has access at the time they need it? So let's start. I mentioned earlier about public locates, or public utilities and public locates. This is an essential step. 811, I assume everyone here is aware of 811. It's an essential step, and what they do is they locate your utilities in the right-of-way, and then from the right-of-way to the meter in some cases. On almost every facility, I'll say almost because I don't like definitive statements that put me in a box, but almost every facility, you also have private utilities. And we need to know where those are as well, because these are the things that are usually manning your internet, your communications, all of these things, along with obviously your gas, sewer, and all of that. These are just as important to understand at your facility as the public locates. The second thing is when you have somebody out there for the private locates, it's important to have a good, strong ground disturbance policy to understand how to make sure that you are collecting the data in a way that is completely accurate to the best of the ability. We believe in the subsurface investigation methodology. And the reason why is just the accuracy of it is way above the standard way that folks are using within the industry. What that does, and when I say way above, it is 99.9% accurate versus a industry standard of 85%. So there's a huge difference in how you're collecting the data. Why is that? The equipment used, every piece of equipment in identifying your subsurface infrastructure has limitations. So the right combination of equipment together, when you call somebody out to your site, understanding the right equipment together is essential. If they're just using GPR or they're just using EM, it's not going to give you all the information that you need. But the combination together, along with video pipe inspection, along with all of these things, gives you a better picture. Making sure the limitations in the industry to collect private utility data is very, very minimal to get over the hump. Basically, you have to go to a store and buy a location machine, and then you're in the business. It's very minimal. So making sure that the proper training has happened to anyone that's coming on your site is essential. And then the methodology, what tools to use, when to use it, what pattern to go by to, again, push your accuracy up when you're identifying that. So that's on how you collect your data. Then what do you do once you have that information? Once you've closed the gap of what you're missing on your facility, what do? What do you look for in a digital platform? And that's going to be different for everyone. And there's not one size fits all as far as GIS platforms go or digital platforms go to house this information. It's about understanding a few key things. It's got to have the ability to integrate, and you've got to understand what information that you need to integrate into your digital platform. It's got to have the ability to access and limit access where needed to the folks that you want and don't want in there. And it's got to give you the ability to collaborate. I've been on a lot of campuses where projects are going, and I'm using the word campus for all facility, not just colleges, universities. Been on a lot of campuses where projects are going on, and the amount of subcontractors that are on the site at one time is mind-blowing to me. I was on a hospital last year where in one parking garage project, we had 13 different companies in a room about this size or in a space about this size. And the information being gathered a lot of times needs to be shared amongst this. So you have to have a digital platform that allows you to share this information when they need it, how they need it, and to who needs it. So when we talk about the ability to integrate, understand what documents you need in your system. Is it as-built? Is it CAD drawings? Are it point clouds or photogrammetry, 3D tours? All these things. If you use all of this, it's a different system than if you're just doing straight historic drawings, things of that nature. And the other piece when I talk about ability to integrate, you've got a lot of people on your at your facilities, at your job sites that are gathering information for you. I'll give you a walk through one site in particular, and it's hard to see on this screen, so I apologize for that. But when you look at this site, this is a real live site. Electrician captured a little data in one area. The plumber captured a little data in the other. The GC captured a good piece of data in the middle of the project, and the mechanical engineer also captured a little bit of data. This looks like not a lot when it was all separate, but with the right system that brings it together, this gave this person an entire map of the areas that they were looking at. So having a system that can take in this information as it comes and be able to integrate from other platforms and other things is essential to giving you the full picture and the full as-built for it. And again, the ability to share, I can't tell you the amount of times I've gotten the feedback of, hey, I want to give this section, but I can't give this section, so I can't send this file to this person. Or I need to send this out to multiple people and it's such a pain. Finding a system that does that for you is key. And again, when all of these things come together and you have data control and you have a complete picture of your facility, it really does solve the problem and give you and help you with time, safety, budget, and obviously your reputation. I've done a lot of talking about what this can do. I want to walk you through a real life example of University of Toledo, 150-year-old campus, cared about their mapping, but they had gaps in their historical information. They were doing self-locates mainly on their own things. They were having some hits. They were having some situations. And what they did is they implemented a new ground disturbance policy, a methodology in how they collected their information. They partnered with us to go and aggressively collect the information in the areas where they had the biggest gaps. And then they implemented the sitemap as a digital platform for themselves to solve their problem of bringing it all to one place. And the outcome was a full map of their campus and a drastic reduction in incidents and reworks and things of that nature. So I'm gonna walk you through a quick, and I promise quick video.
Actually, we self-perform all of our own underground utilities. We've got an electrician here that works for me that's been doing it about 13, 14 years. He's pretty good with the electrical. When it comes to plastic and stuff, we don't have the capabilities like you guys do to find that. We're pretty good, but you guys need us better.
Have you guys actually had any hits on campus?
Actually, it was last year we were doing parking lot renovations. We actually hit a gas line there. We knew it was nearby. Our friends kind of showed it where it wasn't where we found it. We were actually drilling a hole right next to it, and we heard it hissing, and it happened very quickly. We have this campus sectioned off, so we might have 30 or so, this section, and pretty much what you're providing us, we've got the same, but yours is just so much better. Just the definition, the detail, and all that. We don't show all the manholes, we just show lines. We just show lines ending here and there, and the detail that we're being provided is so much better. I can't stress the importance of it. I mean, anytime we put a shovel around, from a stop sign to a sign for a parking lot, if we know we're going down about a foot or so, we're mapping it out. We're coming in with zoning. It's invaluable information that if you don't have it, you're not going to get it once you do a project. You can't find it until you find it the hard way.
So the cool thing about this site and what they've done here is below ground, they now have accurate information in a place where everyone can find it. And then above ground in many of their facilities that they have to go, they have 3D tours available where they can measure, they can figure out solutions to problems before they even go out there by the different tools they have all housed in one platform. So I appreciate all the time today. I want to open it up to questions anybody's got from the presentation.
How do you get the information?
So how do you get the information? It varies. So you really need a few different things. One, information can come from historic platforms or historic data, so taking drawings. Information can come from going out and actively collecting the data via utility locating, or it can come from 3D laser scanning, different mechanisms like that. Video pipe inspection, all of that can be housed in there.
I asked because, they said they were drilling and they hit a gas line. They didn't expect to be there, but you guys were able to identify the fact that it was obviously where they found it to be, but they didn't know it was there, so how did you find that? I guess through the laser scanning probably or something.
Yeah, so on that gas line, later, basically, because that was pre us being out there, they found it by drilling. Then but we would have found that by either locating directly to it, GPR, or EM locating, all of which could have identified it. What other questions? What's our booth number? 1145?
1149.
1149. We are in booth 1149. Love to have you guys come by, and we can do demos there. Would love to show you anything, answer any questions if you have any beyond that. But I really appreciate the time today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.